Hello, Benites, and welcome to the show. On tonight's show, I'm going to talk about what the hell am I going to talk about? You can't predict what I'm going to talk about here. I don't even know. So we just watched a movie on Netflix, and it was great. Holly, what do you think? Look at the size of my freaking head. You know, I would have a full head of hair if I had a normal size head. You never know what I'm going to talk about. All right, this is actually live. Well, Jack Guadagni, welcome. You became a Benites Bronze member. I have a lot to go over tonight. A lot of you watched my earlier broadcast where I made a decision about I actually ought to have this breaking news off here until I'm done, but I made a decision based on speaking with some of my circle. And hello, Ronnie. And, you know, I had something happen. Let me tell you what the decision is first. I've decided to continue making Bad Ben films as long as I stay alive. If I die and somebody else wants to pick up, perhaps, hello, John and Patty. Hello, Janaea. Hello, Lisa Ann. Hello, Sarah Ann. And of course, Ronnie and Jack, our new member. What happened was, as you know, months ago, after Bad Ben 14, I announced that Bad Ben 15 would be the final. Hi, Debbie. Would be the final in the Bad Ben series. I even printed t-shirts. So those of you that have them, they may be collector's items. So hang on to them. Here's what happened. I told the story about how a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, we walk upstairs after a night of frivolry and TV down here in the basement, and the TV in the living room is on. Now, I asked Holly, did you leave that on? She said, no. Now, there's a couple things that make it strange. Number one, down here on the corner of my desk sits my iPad that has 9 of my cameras on it. One of the cameras is down here pointing at the wood stove so that I can always keep an eye on it when I'm not even down here. Another camera points at the living room, so when we go out, we can keep an eye on the dogs, which is so rare, but it does happen. Well, that camera that looks at the living room is also, it's on my iPad here, and it's extended to a large monitor up here. And I can't show it to you, but, well, I can. No, I can't. If the TV was on, I would have seen it when I went to shut it off. But we go up and I say to Holly, did you leave this on? She says, no. Now, there's 2 things additional that make that weird. At dinner, we always sit at trays and eat like animals. And we watch Everybody Loves Raymond, which is on Peacock. Now, our TV in the living room is a Roku TV. So when you turn it on, you know, like if you have your TV plugged into a cable box and you turn it on, it comes on to the last channel you were watching and whatever's being broadcast. Well, this TV doesn't work that way because it's not connected to a cable box. It's only streaming. And when you turn it on, it comes up to the Roku menu, and then you have to pick a channel like Netflix or Hulu or whatever. This was playing some Asian movie that you would have to search for. You would have to turn the TV on, search for, and leave it running. And that didn't happen. Plus, during our time down here, at one point, Holly went up to use the restroom, and I went up to use the restroom. So we would have noticed it being on. So how, sorry, I swallowed wrong. How that TV wound up on was a mystery. But at that time, I said, man, that would be something great to put in a Bad Ben film. And then I'm like, well, I'm not really doing anymore except for 15. And then I said, why? I was kind of, I guess, a little down in the dumps because it was so hard getting 14 made and getting the cast assembled and had to raise money. And that's always stressful and all. But I got so many emails from the time I announced 15 would be my last one till now that of people saying, I got one. It's not here. I think it was it was a message I got on Instagram. And people that have said how much the Bad Ben films have entertained them through tough times, including the pandemic. We made a film during the pandemic, and people just talked like how they had, were recovering from things or were sick and how much they enjoyed Bad Ben. And it really, they were heartfelt messages, as this is a heartfelt message, that people enjoyed them. And I said, I don't really have to stop and go in a different direction. I have a list of so many things that I can still do. So I said, why not keep making Bad Ben films? So with that being said, I made the decision just this morning to continue doing it. And I'll tell you outright, the one thing that can prevent it is if I cannot raise the funds to do this. Now, I sent out an email today. Many of you already got it because those emails go out to like 2,500 to 3,000 people. If everybody, I think it's 2,500. If everybody on that list donated just $4, everything I need to continue is there. And here's what I'm up against. A lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes here. And there's people working besides me that do aspects of the film to get it completed that have to get paid. And also, and the biggest part of this is this computer that I use. It's great for live streaming, but this computer is now 8 years old. And even though it's a great computer, it's the old Apple chip, and it's just getting slower and slower. And it's when I try to export a 90-minute film, it usually takes multiple attempts and setting it to bare minimum processes running in order to get it to complete. So it's become a challenge, and that needs to be. My cameras are okay. My audio's okay to do everything. But when it comes to editing, which is what I do, I really need to upgrade. So that's why I'm trying to raise some funds. And I can't have this be as tough as like 13 and 14 was. Not that any of you are in any better of a situation, but you may be. But anyway, I've decided that Not Your Home will still be the final Bad Ben movie whenever that happens to be. So I have to rename what Bad Ben 15 was. And this, for those of you that haven't seen the email, I present to you the title for, well, let me shut this. I present to you the title for Bad Ben 15. Poltergeist. The Bad Ben saga continues. As I was contemplating the name last night to do this, I did some reading on Poltergeist beyond the movie Poltergeist. And Poltergeists are cool as shit. So that's going to be the subject for Bad Ben 15. And instead of a Halloween release, if I can get, I mean, had a lot of momentum this afternoon. A lot of people contributed. And hang on a second, let me put this back up. And as a result, if I get the support, I could start, if I reach my goal by tomorrow night, which would be a lofty goal, but I could be filming tomorrow night. My goal is to release Bad Ben 15 by the summer, early summer, and to release Bad Ben 16 by Halloween. So you'd still get 2 films this year, which has been our average. Other than the pandemic year, 2 films has been our average. So if you can, do me a favor later, take a look at badben.com/15. It's got all the details in there and most of what I explained tonight. Now, on to a couple normal Tom Riley, or wait, Nigel at night topics. I always, when I have dreams and they're very like vivid dreams, or when I wake up and I've been having a dream, I always think I'll remember it when I wake up, but I never do. So I'll always grab my phone and I'll type in a note I have on my phone called Dreams. I'll type down, and usually most of them don't make sense, but I'll tell you some I've written down. This woman at Acme, the supermarket I go to, she's a nasty bitch. Anyway, we in this dream, I'm having an argument with her. I don't know about what. And the store manager comes walking by, and I tell him, "Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate the donation." The manager comes by, he says, "What's wrong?" And I said, "She is a C word," I said in my dream. And the manager agrees and says, "She is a C word." And I can't find my scooter. Like I'm on a motorized scooter, like old people ride, and he finds it for me. That was last night's dream. Then I looked because I hadn't written dreams in a while. And one I wrote down was Javier Bardem is a mob boss. And he has my suit of armor, which went missing at the airport. You know the suit of armor that's at the top of my stairs to upstairs? Don't know what that means. And another favorite one was John Candy and I went shopping, and he bought paper towels. That was my dreams. Don't ask me. I can't explain. Now, there's a couple things here notes I took. First of all, the weather. We're having some very unusual weather. We're supposed to have, this is storm 2 of 5 we're supposed to have this week. Hi, bud. Long time no see. And it's raining out, but it's cold. It's just at the freezing point. And it was freezing rain earlier, like sleeting. And then it was supposed to turn to snow, but I never saw it. It's supposed to snow at 7. It's not snow, and it's raining. It's just at 32 degrees, but overnight, but north of here, like if the Fitches are around, they might be getting snow. But north of here, they're probably getting snow. But overnight, it goes up. It's like, it's going to be 5 degrees warmer at 11 o'clock than it is now. And when you have those type of nights, this stuff will just won't be icy at all. So I don't know. You never know. That can change. Also, about phone tracking. A lot of times you see on apps where they tell you how to turn off your phone so you're not getting tracked. Um, I don't know who you think might be following you or what makes you so amazing that somebody may try to follow you to do harm. But phone tracking is not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you get lost and they ping. Like if you get lost or you have an accident and you go off the side of a road into woods and they're looking for you and they ping your phone's last known location or current location, having your phone tracking off ain't going to help them find you. So I'm just saying, when they tell you about turning phone tracking off, you might want to disable some cookies and shit so that so stuff you look up doesn't keep popping up in your Instagram feed. But again, people are sometimes a little overly cautious about that because the reason you were looking that item up is because you had an interest in it. That's why it's popping up. So if you've lost interest in it, it might be frustrating, whatever. I just get a little bugged when I'm talking about something. And then, for instance, prior to this, prior to broadcasting tonight, I was watching Mamma Mia with Meryl Streep in it. So as I look at my phone, what comes up on Instagram? A video of Jodie Foster and Jennifer Lawrence at an Oscars speech. And Jodie Lawrence is on crutches. And Jennifer Lawrence says, "What happened to you?" And she jokingly says, "Streep." And then Jennifer Lawrence says, "She tripped me up the steps once." And they were joking about it. But it's awful ironic that Meryl Streep pops up in my Instagram feed. I don't think I've ever seen Meryl Streep in my Instagram feed ever. It's just ironic that she happens to pop up after I watched Mamma Mia. Oh, I'm a little worried. Between Mamma Mia and Wicked, Broadway, I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Pocket, we're getting 7+ inches tonight. God, I wish. And 2 more similar storms this week. Send the rain to us, please. I may seem powerful, but I am not that powerful. All right. Now, on to more. If you ever do the Twitter shit, the X shit, I implore you to right now go look at Kanye West's Twitter feed. I think it's Ye. Is it? He's lost his mind again. Cursing everybody out, calling everybody out that's celebrities. I just can't do it justice to try to explain it here. But he is full blown. I think what happened, he took so much heat from last week's Grammy thing where he has his wife there basically naked beside him, that he just and I think a lot of celebrity types were mocking him. And so he's on the warpath, but you have to say it. Anti-Semitic rants, calling people the N-word that happened to be African-American people. Like Dave Chappelle was the last thing I saw. It was insane. So anyway, check it out for yourself. Now, Holly, I told you I would read you this email.
Yes.
Okay, tonight when I read it to everybody else. Now let me find it. All right, I'm not going to say the name of the person this is from. Hang on. Thank you, Becky, for your donation. All right, this person's name I won't say, but the subject, it's to me, subject of the email is, have you considered a VR-centric movie? Hi, Nigel. I'm a recent new fan. Thank you. I just discovered your movies and was pleasantly surprised by them. I'm a B-movie junkie. So while hunting for movies, I stumbled upon The Haunted Highway. I didn't realize it was your 7th movie and couldn't quite figure out what Bad Ben referred to. So I started looking and found all the information and have been watching the backlog. I'm on number 6 now and will keep going once that's over. One thing that I thought might be interesting is a VR based story, which incidentally, folks, this past 2 weeks, I've received 5 emails from people telling me, giving me their ideas for a Bad Ben movie. And one of them is that they say they're my biggest fan and they want me to do a movie where I help Bad Ben get revenge against all the other people, all the other ghosts that have wronged him, and he's a ghost. He said that. I forget how he worded it, but he thinks Bad Ben's a ghost, and he's supposed to be my biggest fan. For those of you that don't know, and you all do, Bad Ben is the Jersey Devil. Anyway, I thought you might be interested in a VR-based story. I happen to have recently bought a Insta360 Pro 2 3D 360 degree 8K camera. Whew. And I live in Maryland, so only a few hours away, if it's something you'd be interested in playing with. I was looking for ideas for content to create, and your kind of storytelling fits the bill. Maybe tell the story from a monster's perspective. Now, there just is a film that came out or is about to come out, which is a found footage movie that's from the perspective of the demon.
Yes.
And so his idea is a good idea, what he wants to do, but it's just something that's too big for me to tackle. But here's where the email gets real interesting. I mean, I will email this guy back and say, I love your idea and your concept. Because remember, God, I'm so gassy. I apologize. They made a Bad Ben video game, which is popular as hell. And I think a VR where you put on goggles and can do it. I don't think, what the fuck is that? I think it would be interesting, but I just don't think it's something that I could physically put the time into getting made. But here's where it gets real interesting. You listening now?
Yes.
I also know a guy that lives around here who has worked in the industry, and his specialty, you ready, is safely setting people on fire. I can't volunteer his services, obviously, but I could ask him if he'd be interested if you would have a need for something like that. Hey, Paranormal Pat, are you watching? And even if you aren't interested, I'm enjoying your movies and would love to support your efforts if there's a preferred way. Well, thank you. But I think the VR is I think it's a great idea. And I think to do like a walkthrough found footage horror with VR is like a fantastic idea. And I really hope this guy would do it. But it's a bit much for me. And also, I really don't have plans to catch anybody on fire. I mean, if you remember in Bad Ben Undead, I actually caught fire, if you remember that. But it was special effects. And thank you, Abby Marciando. Becky, I imagine that's somebody you know. But thank you, Becky, and thank you. Yeah, I would be okay with catching Paranormal Pat on fire if he'd be interested. So, and thank you. Oh, Lauren, I said thank you to you. Thank you. So anyway, that's to recap on what I was talking about tonight. I've decided It's been months, but just the other day I got the inkling about, because of a little weird thing that happened, that I'm sure there's some reasonable explanation here. Because I have the Roku remote on my phone, and do you have the Roku remote on your phone? How you do? It's a possibility we hit something, but I didn't have it open, but it's a possibility. Whatever. Walk upstairs and the TV's playing, and I thought, man, that would be great in a Bad Ben film. And then I'm like, but I'm ending it. And then I thought, why? Because I've gotten so many emails from people that have loved the series and said how much it's meant to them, that I made the decision. I hinted at it last night, but I made the final decision this morning that I'll keep making Bad Ben films as long as I can keep making Bad Ben films. And I'm trying to raise the support I need to continue. And you can contribute to that. In fact, if you go, I won't go over the whole thing again, but if you go to badben.com/15, it's along the bottom of the screen, you can read everything about this, and you can decide whether or not you are willing, if you can, to contribute to this effort. And because I've decided not to stop at Bad Ben 15, Not Your Home, Not Your Home is still the title of what the final film will be, whenever that is. So I had to come up with a new title for 15, which will be the next film, which will release early this summer. And that will be Bad Ben 15, Poltergeist. Poltergeists are cool. So that just about sums everything up there, folks, for my day. I will stay online a little longer to take any questions people may have, or just talk in general. And I hope. Oh, by the way, anybody that contributed to Bad Ben 15 already, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm going to roll that into this bad. It'll still be Bad Ben 15. You'll be in the credits and all. And also, Leave the Lights On will continue. So I got a lot on my plate, but with the right support, I can do it all. So, I mean, we'll have opportunities in here for people to be featured, like, be it a name I read during the film, be it a picture on the wall. Like, what I mean by that, like Dora here, who's Ronnie's dog. Dora was sitting behind Holly in the Christmas Spectacular. The only reason I can't put Baby Ben, which Patty DiGregorio made me, and I love, is how much have we raised so far? A couple $100 today. But I just launched this afternoon. And I honestly, I'll tell you, I have to raise like 10 grand because I have to replace this computer. It is not going to handle the rendering of another 90-minute film. And, but that also covers the payment for a lot of the people that work on this behind the scenes. I mean, I'm pretty much a one-man show, but I'm not entirely a one-man show. So let's put it this way, folks. I don't have a cocaine habit I'm spending the donations on. And I wear $10 hoodies from Walmart, and I have like 8 pairs of jeans from Walmart and underwear and t-shirts. The only thing I spend above average on is socks, because they're diabetic socks and they feel good on my footsies. So anyway, that's the story. And you can read about it all in badben.com/15. But the more I raise, the sooner I can get started on this. And let's see, it's February, so I figure I should be able to start by March, April, May, June. That gives me 4 months to do it and not rush it. So you decide if I'm worthy. But with the right support, I'll. There's also at badben.com/shop. There's opportunities if you want to be a producer of the film and have your name listed as such and therefore be in the IMDb credits as a producer. And I sent this out in an email today to everybody that's on my email list. And there are many of you, like a lot of you, there's a lot of people I don't normally see in the room tonight. But a lot of you like constantly support me. So, you already have a place in the credits. So don't feel the need to, you've done so much. And I mean, like, I don't want to call out particular names because if I forget somebody, they'll feel slighted, but I'll do it anyway. Ronnie, John and Patty DiGregorio, Sarah Caluccio, Janaea Natali, the Fitches. Did I say Ronnie? And there's so many more of you I know I'm missing, but Sarah Ann, Lisa Alugali. God darn it. Lisa, get remarried. Phil Chestnut, Bud. You guys have, and if I missed your name, please don't feel slighted. It's just been a lot. And donations of any amount make a difference. You don't have to take them and put up 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, 500, 1,000, $1, $4 from everybody on my mailing list would more than cover this. $1 from the 10,000 followers I have on Facebook. Oh God, excuse me, 6,000 followers on YouTube. So I don't want to make every nightly broadcast I do be talking about raising money. So this is for, I'm breathing new life into the Bad Ben series to entertain, and hopefully you consider me worthy of it. And if I reach this goal, we will catch Pat on fire. Okay? How are you okay with that?
What did you say?
We're going to light Paranormal Pat on fire if I reach my goal?
Sure, I'll watch, but I won't take part of it.
You're lighting the match.
No, I'm not.
No, we're not going to. See, the problem with Pat is if Pat was instructed by the pyrotechnical person to, as soon as we light you on fire, just stand there and spin or in the circle, and then we'll extinguish you. Pat doesn't listen well. Pat would suddenly think he's Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four and go running down the driveway and try to jump in the air. And then what am I going to do? So how'd Paranormal Pat end? Well, his family sued me and now owns my house because he burned up in my driveway. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to Pat. So, folks, that's the exciting news. Bad Ben 15, Poltergeist. And anybody that would decide they want to be a producer on it, there's a link for that in badben.com/shop where you can read all the details on that also. So that's my exciting news, and I hope you found it worthy of tuning in. And since I got 40 some people in the room here, I'll hang around a little longer because I love you guys. Hopefully, some people will ask me some questions. Well, Kanye was on fire since last night, and his tweets are very difficult to read because they're so emotional. Like he's typing with such anger that they're very tough to follow. Hello, Kevin. It's supposed to be snowy and icy up the eastern seaboard tonight, Kevin. So hopefully the Vermont or New Hampshire shoppers at your liquor store aren't boozing up. Oh, tomorrow's the Super Bowl. Well, to be honest, I mean, a lot of people around here, there'll be a ton of Super Bowl parties because it's the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's the closest geographically to where we are, Philadelphia. And those, there'll be people traveling around now. Oh, by the way, Ronnie, did you watch Severance, the latest episode? We're not going to talk spoilers, but I just want to know your opinion. We did not get snow. We had some brief freezing rain, and now it seems just to be rain outside. It's above freezing. Right before I came on, I checked the temperature. It was like 32, which is the freezing point, and it can snow above freezing, but it won't stick. And anyway, it's supposed to get warmer all night long. It's going to be in the 40s tomorrow. Let me see if I can see what the temperature is. Well, this says it's 35 now on my phone, but when I look at years ago, I bought this cheap little weather station at Sam's Club, and it has an outdoor like detector that you put outside, and isn't that cool, Hal?
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve Secord. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate your donation. Well, Lisa, it was a strange episode, much different than the others in that they, were where they were. I don't want to give spoilers yet because it's only been out a day. After the weekend, it's fair game. But Holly was shocked that I liked it as much as I did. And she made a prediction weeks ago before this season even started, which turned out to be spot on.
Thank you.
She was badass. Ronnie says it was good, but I agree. Weird. It was weird. It was different because of the location where it was. But that ending was about as good an ending as they've shown. And Ronnie, if you remember, Holly made that a certain prediction that turned out to be true last night. But that's all I'm going to say without giving away spoilers. Come Monday, if you're watching, though. And I thought Monday was a holiday. I thought it was President's Day, but it's next week. Next Monday. The remains of all 10 people killed when their small plane crashed into ice on the Bering Sea have been recovered. A lot of plane crashes.
What do you think of my prediction about Irving?
I think you might be right on that, too. But I could send Ronnie an email about that, but I don't want to.
It's all over the internet at this point.
Well, I'll tell you, anybody that doesn't want to hear this, plug your ears. I'm about to give a potential spoiler, so I'm going to count down from 10. I'm particularly calling this out to Lisa and Ronnie because they're watchers. But I'm going to count down from 10 and then tell you the theory Holly has.
Just turn this volume down and he'll give you a signal when he's done with the spoiler.
No, I won't. Just cover your ears or mute me for a minute. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, here's a potential spoiler. Holly thinks Irving has already been reintegrated. You know that black lady that did the reintegration and she said she's gotten better at it? Holly thinks he's been reintegrated. So he knows both his innie and his outie.
And his whole purpose is to get into that hallway that Miss Casey is in, so he can.
Oh, that's the other big one. She thinks he's going to wind up like
where Miss Casey and Bert are.
Last night's episode, how it ended. They don't think he's going to just wind up fired and on the outside. They think he's going to wind up where Miss Casey is. And I think he's going to wind up next week shaving a sheep. That's what I think. Anyway, you can listen again.
We'll see if I'm right.
We'll see. She would be batting 1,000 because she's wrong a lot.
Hey.
But Lisa says it makes sense, your theory. I want to see what Ronnie also says that makes sense. So.
Because I can't. You already.
No, you can go ahead.
Because the way he was acting in the last 2 episodes was not the way Irving acted. Like any regular Irving was very like proper, and he didn't curse. He wasn't combative, and he was like that. You know, I think that it's the combination of the 2 Irvings.
Well, some asshole keeps showing up in my Instagram feed about Severance, and I finally did mute this person so I don't see him for a while. But he was talking about the Antichrist and all that stuff.
The Antichrist?
I don't know. I don't know what's up with the sheep, Ronnie. But I did find it funny that she said, "Show me your bellies." And they were looking for pouches. That, I don't know what that's about.
I told you what that was about.
What?
In season 1, Bert told them the story that the other departments thought there was something strange about the MDR department, and that somebody came up with the theory that they had pouches like animals, and that they gave birth to like larvae that grew up to replace the people with the pouches. And so that was the story that was going around.
What kind of fucking psychedelic bullshit are we watching?
Well, these people are like, the people on the inside are completely insulated. They don't know what's going on the outside.
Now, I have gotten so into this series that I forget. And every time I remember this by seeing the credits, I'm amazed to realize that this came out of the guy who did Zoolander and did There's Something About Mary and all these things. That Ben Stiller is the producer of this. I mean,
and their director.
All right.
He directed the last episode and the first episode.
It's just, it's amazing to me. The Daily Brew. Why are you yelling at me?
Who?
The Daily Brew. How many Bad Bens are there going to be? All in caps. You've done this since 2016, my guy. I don't know. Do you want me to stop making them? Stop watching. There might be, I was going to put him in a timeout, but I don't think he means anything malicious when he says this. I do know that his keyboard is stuck on caps. The Daily Brew, you should do broadcasts. We were going to stop at 15, but now it looks like we might make 30 before I'm too old. If I do 2 a year, that would mean I have to work for at least 8 more years, as many years as I've been doing it. My guy.
Do I have to hurt somebody?
No, I don't think Daily Brew, man. I just think his computer etiquette might be a little, or he was very emotional when he wrote this.
Because I will,
Yeah, Daily Brew, you don't want Mrs. Biggins to get on your bad side. But I'm telling you, I'm running it. I'm running interference.
It's the opposite of that.
What?
He doesn't want to get on my bad side.
That's what I said. You don't want.
You said it the opposite.
What'd I say?
That I didn't want to get on his bad side.
That's not what I said.
All right.
I said you don't want Mrs. Biggins on your bad side. Oh, that is the opposite. Now he's gone silent. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You want me to write back in caps? I'm sorry. And I got an email from somebody today that wants to make a VR Bad Ben. And Clint Eastwood's still going strong at 90. Yeah, but look at Clint Eastwood. Jesus. I think he might have died when he was 80. And he's like Weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, nobody told him. He's like Weekend at Bernie's. He wants to make a VR-based Bad Ben so you can wear goggles and watch the film. And he also has a friend that is an expert in the industry. His specialty is safely setting people on fire. So I don't think I'll be taking them up on that. But I don't like anything where your survival is based on being lit on fire and trusting that people running towards you with fire extinguishers, you got to bet that the fire extinguisher is going to work, and you got to bet that they're not going to be a second too late. I don't think I've ever had a 3rd-degree burn. I had a 2nd-degree burn from an iron once. Long story. But I don't know. I'm just a little nervous by that. So, folks, that's everything I have for you tonight. I hope you'll take a look at badben.com/15 and let me know. And I appreciate everyone that's contributed so far. I love you all, which is why I'm doing this. So, see you, love you. Bye for now. See you tomorrow night.